Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Hello, Assalamu alaikum. This is Ultrascan Diagnostics. Area is the lower wisdom teeth.
As you can see on the panoramic view that the lower right and lower left wisdom teeth have been highlighted as the area of interest. We'll take you through both the views on the transaxial view and the axial view so that you can have a better understanding. We're going to keep the teeth as parallel to the long axis as we can so that there is better understanding. This is the mesial aspect of the lower right wisdom tooth. As you can see, the mesial aspect is significantly close to the inferior alveolar nerve. This is the mesial aspect. As you can see, the highlighted portion, this is the inferior alveolar nerve canal, this kidney bean shape. Now, if we take you slightly forward, the architecture of this is usually rounded. But as we move towards the wisdom tooth, you will be able to see that the mesial root of the lower right wisdom tooth compresses the inferior alveolar nerve and converts it into a kidney bean shape. This is a direct indication that the canal is being compressed by the wisdom tooth roots. As we move posteriorly, this is the interradicular area where the canal slightly breathes, but then as we move towards the distal root, you can see that the canal is in direct contact with the apex of the wisdom tooth. So this is the inferior alveolar nerve canal, and this is the roots of the wisdom tooth, right? So the arrows can actually show you there is absolutely no space between them. As we move slightly differently here again, distal root, inferior alveolar nerve, again being compressed. When we move further towards the mesial root, here is we can see that the maximum compression is, this is the wisdom tooth, this is the inferior alveolar nerve. So here again you can see that the lower right wisdom tooth is being completely compressed by, is completely compressing the inferior alveolar nerve on the lower right hand side. Now this is the axial view, this is the lower right hand side. I'm going to highlight this area for, sorry, my apologies. Now this is the area where you can see this is the lower right wisdom tooth. For axial is the top to bottom view. This is the inferior alveolar nerve, and you can see how it gets compressed by the roots of the inferior alveolar nerve in this region right here. So you can see that the roots are compressing the inferior alveolar nerve quite significantly on the lower right hand side. The lower left hand side is even more complicated. So here you can see this is the wisdom tooth and this is the inferior alveolar nerves. This is the wisdom tooth, this is the inferior alveolar nerve, and you can see again completely compressing. Now if we move further distally, you can see that here it gets completely compressed by the lower left wisdom tooth. So here the inferior alveolar nerve is completely compressing every aspect of the lower left wisdom tooth. As we're moving further back, you will be able to see that the wisdom tooth, then as we are moving towards the distal aspect, the wisdom tooth slightly gives way in the interradicular area. So this is the furcation area. But as the distal canal comes in, again we can see that the wisdom tooth is compressing the inferior alveolar nerve on this aspect as well. Now on the axial view, we want you to see, so this is the lower left wisdom tooth, this is the inferior alveolar nerve. As you can very clearly see, the inferior alveolar nerve starts to get compressed, and at this point, which is the mid tooth point or where the roots start, you can see that the wisdom tooth is completely compressing the inferior alveolar nerve right here. As you move further down towards here again, you can see that this is the mesial, this is the distal aspect. Again, the inferior alveolar nerve is being being compressed by the wisdom tooth on the lower left hand side. So this is quite significantly complicated in terms of extraction complications, as the nerve is being completely compressed by the wisdom tooth on both the sides. The left side is more severe, however, as compared to the right side. Another interesting thing to note is that this is the lower right wisdom tooth, and this tooth is definitely multi-rooted as well. So it has a distal root, it has a mesial root, and we believe that it has a additional root component as well. As you can see that this area is so fused and so bulbous. This is where the inferior alveolar nerve is present, and this is where the root apex is. So you can see how closely associated and how much of a compression is being done by the lower right wisdom tooth. This is the lower left wisdom tooth, and you can see that this wisdom tooth is compressing the nerve so much that this is how the nerve canal pathway is, and this is how it is stopping it in the middle. It's actually compressing it, so it has been pushed towards the lingual aspect. And this is the lingual aspect of the canal, but then the tooth comes in and pushes it and compresses the nerve quite significantly. The roots of this wisdom tooth are also extremely bulbous, as you can see on this view as well.